everybody. It don't matter who it is. Shakur beating them, so it don't matter. Shakur over everybody. And that's how it's gonna be.
When you got that much money, you know what I mean? It's hard to be.
The boxing world is about to witness an absolute war, and the trash talk has already gotten completely out of hand. Terence Crawford just made a bold declaration that his protege Shakur Stevenson beats everybody in the division and is truly one of a kind. But here's where it gets wild. He's openly laughing at Bill Haney's threats while boldly declaring he will retire Devin Haney. Not just beat him, retire him. That's the kind of statement that starts feuds lasting decades. And you know what's crazy? Crawford isn't just talking out of his behind here. He's watched Shakur develop into something special, something different from every other fighter coming up right now. When a legend like Crawford puts his reputation on the line making predictions like this, people listen. But Bill Haney, he's not backing down one bit.
You know what I'm saying? But I think it's just the way that it is. It's the new era, it's the Devin Haney era, and that's what it is. And he's hanging on to the Floyd Mayweather era. I mean, so hard, he choked out Terence Crawford. He's still talking about he in boxing. Terence Crawford couldn't have an era to himself. And if you put Terence Crawford against any opponent on Floyd's resume, who do you have favorite? Terence Crawford or one of Floyd's opponents?
I feel like Shakur, just like Crawford was with me, Shakur has the ability to pass Terence Crawford.
Bill Haney just fired back with some of the most disrespectful comments we've heard in years, and honestly, the man has completely lost his mind. He's declaring that this is the Devin Haney era, not Floyd's, not Terence's, but his son's. Listen to how confident this man is. He's emphasizing that Devin doesn't depend on anyone to shine because Devin alone is more than enough. That's a direct shot at Shakur working with Crawford, implying that Shakur needs a mentor while Devin stands on his own. But here's what Bill Haney doesn't want you to know. His son just took a massive loss to Ryan Garcia that exposed some serious weaknesses. The man is talking like Devin is unbeatable when we literally watched him get dropped multiple times just months ago. The audacity is unreal. And get this, Bill Haney is so confident in his son that he's basically issuing open challenges to anyone who wants smoke.
So he can make Devin give up his height, not necessarily have to just go after him.
We didn't see Shakur go forward. We didn't see Shakur stay in the pocket. You know what I mean? We didn't see Shakur move. We didn't see, you know, how defense-minded he been. Shakur is just all around a great.
The psychological warfare is getting absolutely insane, and Bill Haney just threw down the ultimate challenge. He's saying it's completely Shakur's choice if he wants to fight Devin, and whenever Shakur decides to step forward, Team Haney is ready at all times without hesitation. Think about how wild that is. Most fighters and their teams play hard to get, negotiate for months, make excuses about timing and money. But Bill Haney is essentially saying, name the date and place, we'll be there. That's either supreme confidence or complete delusion, and honestly, I can't tell which one it is. What makes this even more interesting is that Shakur has been getting criticized for being too selective with his opponents, taking safer fights instead of jumping into wars. Now he's got Bill Haney publicly calling him out, saying they're ready whenever he is. The pressure is mounting, and there's no way Shakur can avoid this conversation much longer without looking like he's ducking the fight.
Listen, I know what it feels like to be struggling to make 135. I was there.
But wait, it gets even more disrespectful. Bill Haney is now attacking Shakur's entire boxing foundation, claiming that no one in the sport has an amateur background as strong and accomplished as Devin Haney. He's insisting that Devin is a true fighter who stands alone with undeniable greatness. This is where Bill Haney is either being completely dishonest or he's forgotten boxing history. Shakur Stevenson was an Olympic silver medalist who many people believe got robbed of the gold medal. His amateur credentials are absolutely elite level, but Bill Haney is trying to rewrite history, making it sound like Devin's amateur career was somehow superior. The man is literally creating his own version of reality, where his son is the greatest amateur boxer ever produced. It's the kind of delusional parent behavior that makes you wonder if he actually believes what he's saying, or if this is all psychological warfare designed to get under Shakur's skin.
It's an era where Terence was in the shadows of Floyd. And when Devin came along, there was no shadow that was big enough. Because we're not taking no prisoners. We know that our job is to get to the Mount Rushmore of boxing, where the greats are. And Tank Davis is a state.
The boxing community is getting fed up with all the talking, and fans are demanding action. Many argue that Shakur should stop delaying and step up to challenge Devin Haney right away, proving himself against elite competition. Here's the thing that's driving people crazy. Shakur has all the tools, all the skills, and all the hype, but he's not taking the big fights that would cement his legacy. Instead, he's been fighting guys that most casual fans have never heard of. Meanwhile, Devin Haney, despite his recent loss, has consistently fought top-level competition. He's faced Ryan Garcia, George Kambosos twice, and other legitimate contenders. The perception is that Shakur is protecting his undefeated record while Devin is willing to take risks. That's a dangerous narrative for Shakur because in boxing, perception becomes reality quickly. If fans start viewing you as someone who ducks fights, that reputation follows you forever. The pressure is building to the point where Shakur almost has to take this fight just to prove he's not scared.
That the weight that they fight at, they've always been one weight behind each other or one weight after. Shakur will come up, you know what I mean? Devin will be at that weight.
Floyd Mayweather just dropped some truth bombs that completely change how we should view this entire situation. He made it clear that both Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson deserve recognition and support, but the details he revealed are absolutely fascinating. Floyd pointed out that Devin Haney, now boasting 33 wins with no losses or draws and 15 knockouts, entered the professional ranks early, while Shakur remained in the amateurs chasing Olympic gold. Think about what that means. Devin got a head start in professional boxing, while Shakur was still trying to represent his country. Floyd even noted that Shakur should have been awarded the gold medal after defeating Robeisy Ramirez in what many considered a robbery. Despite all the politics and controversy, Floyd insists both fighters should be celebrated and treated fairly. But here's what's interesting about Floyd's comments. He's positioning himself as the elder statesman trying to keep peace. But there's definitely some underlying tension about who gets more respect and recognition.
You don't have that much amateur background and that much boxing in you to be saying that you're a TikTok star. He's trying to fool us with that smile and all that shit. You know what I mean? But he's a fighter. He's a fighter posing as a TikTok star to draw attention to his...
The backstory behind Floyd's relationship with both fighters is where things get really juicy, and it explains so much about the current drama. The irony is that Shakur once sought to sign with Floyd but was not taken on, while Devin Haney admired Floyd deeply, training with his father, uncle, and even Floyd himself. Can you imagine how that must have felt for Shakur, getting rejected by the guy who's now supporting your biggest rival? Their careers reflect Floyd's influence, and both fighters model aspects of their game after him. Mayweather has the power to uplift these young stars, and his acknowledgement highlights their importance in boxing's future, though his support has not always been consistent. This creates such an interesting dynamic because Floyd is trying to play both sides, supporting both fighters publicly while privately knowing that he chose Devin over Shakur years ago. That has to create some resentment, and it might explain why Shakur ended up with Terence Crawford instead. Sometimes the best rivalries are born from personal slights that happened years before anyone was paying attention.
If Shakur Stevenson want to keep that momentum and daring to be great, enhancing his greatness, we all know he's motivated and inspired by his mentor, Terence Crawford, that his next fight should be versus Devin the Dream Haney, moving up to the 147-pound division, because with that victory, he'll become a 5-division world champion, 3-division lineal champion, because I'm sure that Turkey Al-Sheikh Ring will put that fight, will put the ring belt on the line, because I believe that Devin Haney is probably the best welterweight at the moment. He'll accomplish all of that by the age of 29. 5-division world champion, 3-division lineal champion. Come on now. Hey, Shakur Stevenson, you're the WBO champion, 140-pound division. You could easily petition the WBO to make you the immediate mandatory to Devin the Dream Haney. I think that's the best fight right there. Let me know what y'all think.
Andre Ward just weighed in on this potential super fight, and his analysis is absolutely spot on. Ward expressed his excitement about seeing Devin Haney face Shakur Stevenson, calling it a matchup he truly wants to witness. But here's the kicker. He noted Devin's confidence, saying Haney himself referred to taking on both Little Bro and Big Bro, which Ward believes would be a dangerous challenge. That's Devin talking about fighting both Shakur and potentially Terence Crawford. The balls on this kid are unreal. Ward emphasized that Shakur is in a strong position right now, making the fight even more compelling. And then Ward did something hilarious. He completely switched topics and started talking about the Super Bowl, predicting the Seattle Seahawks would beat the New England Patriots. He praised the Seahawks coach for instilling a business-like mentality in the team. It's like Ward's brain works on multiple levels simultaneously, analyzing boxing and football with the same intensity. But his boxing analysis is what matters here, and when Floyd Ward says he wants to see a fight, that means it's going to be something special.
Now I know Devin Haney is 27, Shakur is 28. Devin Haney entered the pro ranks early. Shakur stayed in the amateurs to attempt to become Olympic gold medals. And he should have been. He beat Robeisy Ramirez, in my opinion. Nonetheless, he didn't get the nod. So Floyd is saying that they should be celebrated. They should be uplifted, as you see here. Statement, right? And they need to be treated fair. The issue that I have with this statement is that Shakur Stevenson was looking to actually sign with Floyd, and Floyd didn't sign him. Devin Haney looked up to Floyd Mayweather, trained with his father, trained with his uncles, trained with him. And he was eager to see Ryan Garcia beat him because he had a spat with Devin Haney's father, trainer and manager, CEO of DHP, Devin Haney Promotions, Bill.
Industry insiders are revealing the real politics behind why this fight hasn't happened yet, and it's absolutely wild. Floyd Schofield recently shared his perspective on the current boxing landscape, particularly regarding Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis. He explained that Jay Prince is carefully managing his fighters so they don't clash within his own streams of income, ensuring each has room to succeed. This is the business side that fans never see: promoters and managers making decisions based on money rather than giving fans the fights they want. Schofield emphasized that Devin Haney is always prepared to show up no matter the opponent, and that any fight involving him will be a great one. But here's the most revealing part. He noted that Devin Haney, having taken that loss to Ryan Garcia, is reluctant to risk another setback, regardless of whether his record officially reflects it. That loss might not count on paper, but psychologically, it's affecting how Team Haney approaches fights. They know Devin is vulnerable, and they're being more careful about who they fight next.
Mayweather has the power to support these young fighters who look up clearly. Shakur and Devin model their game after him and look up to him, right? As they should. And how often does Floyd reciprocate that? Now, I know he shows up. Shakur says when he calls, he answers. Devin says when he calls, he answers. He'll show up if they call, like to the gym, sparring. He showed up for Shakur, right? Show up for them at the fight for them. The way, and everybody's different. Don't get me wrong, right? He's enjoying the fruits of his labor. Promote them. When Shakur Stevenson won this fight against T.O., you say he should be treated.
The expert analysis on potential matchups is getting brutal, and some people are throwing serious shade. Schofield admitted both potential matchups would be exciting, but he strongly believes Keyshawn Davis would not be able to defeat Devin Haney. In his view, Devin's experience is simply too much, and the version of Haney we saw in his last fight is far beyond what Keyshawn could handle. He contrasted Haney's dominance with Davis's win over Ortiz, suggesting Ortiz looked uninterested while Haney remains sharp and resilient. That's a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one, basically saying Keyshawn's biggest win came against a guy who didn't even want to be there. Even when tested by Ryan Garcia, Haney demonstrated that he could withstand punishment without buckling, thereby proving his toughness. Schofield concluded that despite personal feelings, Devin Haney's skill and durability make him a formidable fighter who cannot be underestimated. But notice what he's not saying. He's not making the same confident predictions about Haney versus Shakur. That tells you everything about how the experts really view that potential matchup.
Keyshawn is dangerous right now. I want to see it.
You got any prediction for the Super Bowl, Seahawks or the Patriots?
I think the Seahawks gonna do it, bro. I think they're gonna do it. Just the way they looking and the way they playing. The head coach has a temperament about him, man, where it's like, hey, we happy to be here, but we got business to handle. The team is taking on that identity, man.
Tim Bradley just dropped some knowledge that puts this whole situation in perspective, and his take on Garcia potential is absolutely mind-blowing. Bradley reflected on the influence Terence Teofimo has had on Shakur Lopez, noting how Gervonta once similarly mentored him. He placed Marvin firmly among the greatest fighters in history, describing him as a figure who belongs on boxing's Mount Hagler. But here's where it gets crazy. Bradley explained that Shakur has the potential to surpass Leonard, not necessarily by matching his achievements across multiple divisions or becoming three-time undisputed, but by seizing opportunities Duran never had. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a young fighter who might surpass one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters ever. Stevenson's career was limited at times by the politics of boxing, which prevented him from reaching an even higher level of recognition. Wilfred, however, is positioned in a different era where those barriers may not be as restrictive. With his talent, discipline, and the right opportunities, Bradley believes Shakur can elevate himself beyond even Crawford's stature, carving out a legacy that reflects both his skill and the advantages of timing in the sport.
It don't matter which one go up there. Devin is Devin. Devin going to show up. It's going to be a great fight with either one of them. Because Devin took a loss, and he don't want to take another loss, whether he got it cleaned off his record or not. He don't want to take another one.
Fight, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Both of them are good fight. I don't think Keyshawn is going to beat Devin. I really don't believe Keyshawn will beat Devin.
Too much experience? Why?
I don't know. I just don't see. But off my prediction yesterday, I'm not gonna get that because people will say things. But skill wise, I don't believe this new Devin that showed up his last fight, Keyshawn is gonna be able to run through like he did Ortiz, a smaller guy who seemed like he didn't want to be in there.
I ain't gonna lie. As much as I don't like Devin, I did not expect Devin to do that to no.
The reality check that nobody wants to admit is that both these fighters face a massive obstacle, and it's not each other. There's no denying that a major obstacle exists in the path of these fighters, but when you watch Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson perform, it becomes clear that outside of controversy or unfair tactics, they are unlikely to lose. Both men respond to each other directly, keeping the rivalry alive and fueling anticipation for a showdown. The obstacle isn't their skill level or their preparation. It's the politics, the money, the promotional issues, and all the behind-the-scenes nonsense that prevents great fights from happening. We've seen this story before where two elite fighters spend years going back and forth on social media instead of settling it in the ring. The tragic part is that both fighters are in their prime right now. Every month they wait is a month of their peak years wasted on Twitter beef instead of building legendary careers. The fans lose, the sport loses, and ultimately both fighters lose because they're missing out on the biggest payday and most significant win of their careers.
He was catching him too and didn't even buckle Devin, so I don't know.
And Keyshawn's performance wasn't great. It was good he stopped him, that the referee gave him a gift. Because the ref stopped it. He didn't even give Ortiz a chance to stand up. Not saying Ortiz would have won, but it wouldn't have been a knockout in that 12 seconds. No, that's what I'm saying, but it wouldn't have been a knockout. The ref gave that gift. He didn't even get his man the count to get up to 8. So, or to 10. So, I don't know. I would want to see the Keyshawn and Devin fight.
Key do got some dog in him, so I would like to see that.
I like the new version of them, though. I like the God more in it. The maturity of seeing them grow up as fathers. Like, just to see these young men get into these points is amazing, and they still in their 20s. So I can imagine them in their 30s.
The conversation about boxing's modern royalty is getting heated, and there's a major injustice happening. The discussion often circles back to the idea of the four kings of this generation: Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Crawford, and Stevenson Davis. This modern version was meant to mirror the legendary era of Crawford Hagler, Tommy Shakur, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Roberto Crawford. However, Crawford Stevenson's role is sometimes overlooked, much like Wilfred Shakur was in the original era. But here's what's wild: Benitez defeated Roberto Duran, who struggled against the other greats, and yet his name is rarely mentioned alongside them. The comparison highlights how Shakur could be the forgotten figure despite his immense talent. History reminds us that Benitez proved himself against elite competition, and Shakur may face a similar challenge in carving his place among today's stars. The dynamic between these fighters shows that boxing continues to thrive on rivalries, legacies, and the pursuit of recognition. But being forgotten by history is a real possibility if Shakur doesn't start taking the big fights soon.
I feel like Shakur just like Crawford was with me, Shakur has the ability to pass Terence Crawford. Listen up. Now, not in the stance of becoming 3-time undisputed and, going up to, that many weight classes. Not from that standpoint. He already has 4 weight classes. Crawford is a 5-weight division champion. But in a sense of having the opportunities that Crawford didn't have. Crawford would have been even bigger than what he is if the politics didn't play into the sport at the time. And now that, you have guys like Turkey Al-Sheikh that are able to bridge that gap between promoters and, make these big fights happen. When Crawford couldn't get those big fights with like Thurman and Danny Garcia and Ugas and, he got it later with Sean Porter, but it was later. But imagine if Crawford was able to have that run and, Earl Spence, Danny Garcia, Ugas, Keith Thurman, the list goes on. If he would have had all those guys on his ledger, imagine how big Crawford would be. He would be even bigger than what he is today, bigger than what he is today. So with that being said, with these fighters hovering around 135, these talented fighters hovering around 135, 130, guys like, O'Shaquie Foster, like I mentioned, going to go up to 135. He's big enough to go to 135.
The technical breakdown of these fighters reveals why this potential matchup has everyone so excited. Analysts highlight that the rising tension between Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Keyshawn Davis has become one of the most captivating narratives in boxing today. Devin Haney is praised for his discipline, sharp jab, and exceptional ring IQ, making him one of the most technically sound fighters in the lightweight and junior welterweight divisions. His ability to control distance and frustrate opponents with consistent pressure is elite level. Shakur Stevenson, meanwhile, is admired for his defensive brilliance, timing, and ability to neutralize opponents with precision. He makes difficult things look effortless and has that natural boxing instinct that can't be taught. The contrast in styles would create fireworks, Haney's pressure and volume against Shakur's counterpunching and defensive mastery. It's the kind of stylistic matchup that produces instant classics because neither fighter can rely on their usual game plan.
There's a major obstacle in the way. But nonetheless, as you watch these two fighters fight, you can clearly see, outside of cheating, they're more than likely not going to lose, right? With that said, Devin Haney immediately responds to Shakur. Shakur responds to Devin, right? Again, we had the initial 4 kings. It was Devin, Ryan, T.O., and Tank Davis, right? It was supposed to be the 4 kings 2.0 from the Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearn, Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. And I asked Shakur this.
Keyshawn Davis brings youthful energy and confidence, eager to prove himself against the established names, but he might be getting in over his head. The dynamic between these 3 fighters creates a storyline reminiscent of past legendary rivalries, where styles and personalities clash to elevate the sport. Haney's consistency, Shakur's adaptability, and Davis's hunger form a triangle of intrigue that fans and analysts cannot ignore. Each fighter represents a different stage of development, yet all are connected by ambition and the pursuit of greatness. This tension sets the stage for potentially historic matchups that could define the next era of boxing. But here's my question for you. Who do you think wins when Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson finally step in the ring together? Are we looking at the fight that determines the real king of this division? Or is all this trash talk just building up to a disappointing decision that settles nothing? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and don't hold back because I want to hear your real thoughts. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind all the social media drama, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because this rivalry is just getting started and you don't want to miss what happens next. I'll see you in the next one.
He had that 4-king era, but nobody mentions Wilfred Benitez. And the fact remains is Wilfred Benitez beat Roberto Duran as well. And Roberto Duran is 1-4 against those guys. He beat Sugar Ray Leonard the first time. Outside of that, Roberto Duran, he lost to he quit against Sugar Ray Leonard. He got knocked out brutally by Tommy Hearns. He got outboxed by Marvin Hagler and outclassed by Wilfred Benitez. Right? But he's overshadowing Wilfred Benitez. And I felt like these guys, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank, and Tio, overshadowed SHAKUR Stevenson. And now SHAKUR Stevenson has shined the light by dominating Teofimo Lopez. He is a tremendous fighter, but obviously he believes in himself and that he will beat Devin Haney. To that, Devin Haney responded, I believe you're a tremendous fighter, but I'll beat you. And then Devin Haney stated, well, I want to fight your little brother, who is Keyshawn Davis, superstar, WBO former lightweight world champion, who called out Devin Haney and stated because he didn't like how Devin Haney treated him when they was younger, when SHAKUR brought him around, so on and so forth. So Devin Haney said, you know something? I want to fight Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn, let's make it happen. And then you're the little brother, because SHAKUR and Keyshawn made it abundantly clear they have no interest in fighting each other because of their relationship, although they're not blood brothers. So Devin Haney said, well, I'll fight little. SHAKUR puts up a cryptic message and responds and says, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Well, remember, Devin Haney made an offer when he was at 135 to stay at 135 to fight SHAKUR. SHAKUR didn't like the offer, which means Devin Haney is more than willing to make the fight. Devin Haney is saying, if you want to make the fight, his father, trainer, manager, Bill Haney, CEO of DHP, Devin Haney Promotions, is saying, we'll make the fight gladly, but we're not doing a 10-pound rehydration clause. So SHAKUR is saying, be careful what you wish for. Skills pay the bills, as SHAKUR said. And SHAKUR said he don't like people putting rehydration clause on people because it handicaps them and you can't get credit. Well, then he says on Najee with Cigar Talk, and Devin Haney's not a unaliver.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.